I feel like before we begin, I need to address the elephant in the room. Yes, my entire body is red. Yes, even under my pants. I have red in places I never thought I would ever have red in, and I'm not too sure how I feel about it just yet. My only slight concern is that I could die. I could genuinely die from lack of oxygen to my skin. Will I be red for days? Yes. I forgot about that actually. New skin tone unlocked, I guess. It's like playing Sims in real life, except unfortunately I don't get to keep the skin tone, which is a bit of a shame. But happy Valentine's Day. It's officially Valentine's Day, and I don't know how to feel. I mean, I'm fully painted red sat here talking to my phone. So, pretty much sums up my plans for the day. Me wondering why I don't have a relationship, and also me doing this as my job. Questionable, to be honest. But I'm going to be asking you questions. I'm going to be asking me questions. I'm going to ramble. And if you want to listen, go right ahead. We're spending Valentine's Day together, baby. And I got you all of me, all of me talking a lot of shit. Valentine's Day reminds me of a time when I fooled around with a guy once, and turns out he was a massive Trump supporter. The irony of me being red right now is quite funny, but he was, in fact, a Trumpy. And it raises the question, which I have for you and for myself. Can you date someone? Can you be in a relationship with someone who has different political views than you? I'm going to say no. Like right off the bat, I'm going to say no. I think you can try. I think people do try. But I think it's a bit of a slippery slope because I feel like political views come down to your general ethics and morals and your way in which you see the world, which I think in a relationship specifically is a bit of a deal breaker because I think fundamentally you can have arguments with someone, you can have rows, but as long as your morals, ethics, and like the way in which you function is somewhat similar, you can kind of get through anything. That's just my opinion. I think a relationship can go through a lot of turmoil, but as long as you are seeing the same things and you have the same empathy for others, you're able to understand hardships from perspectives that isn't your own, you are able to just see the world in a very 360 kind of scope. I think that's all you really need. I think those are the fundamentals that make a relationship. And so everything else can be kind of given and taken. You can have arguments with someone, but as long as you both are viewing the argument from the same perspective, from a perspective of maybe like growth or learning or understanding one another, rather than I'm right and I need to prove to you that I'm right. Those are two like very different things. And so in an argument setting, they would have very different results. I think that kind of goes hand in hand with political views. I think if you are very far right with someone that's very far left, you already are starting a base of a relationship off of something that is so fundamentally different from one another in just the way that you care about others or the way that you see the world, the priorities that you have are outside of yourself as opposed to just being about you. And so I think, yeah, I don't think you can have a relationship with someone like that. I think it's a slippery slope. And best believe I made an exit. I made a swift exit because it's also one of those things when you've got those different political views, you can have a conversation with someone about it. But at the end of the day, a lot of the time, neither people are necessarily going to leave with a different outlook because our ethics and morals are very deeply rooted in us as people. And so, like, yeah, me and that guy, we had a conversation afterwards about it. And I was like, oh, this is like really, really awkward because no one's changing their mind here. And personally, like, I could not follow with that situation. I could not continue to even entertain it just because sometimes it's not worth it. And in some cases, it can be a lost cause. In some cases, it doesn't necessarily have to be. But I don't necessarily think you can go into a relationship thinking that you can change someone. And if I don't agree with your political views, I would have to change that. And again, I'm not going to change that. That's not my priority. That's not my prerogative. I'm not here to change you. You're not here to change me. So let's both go our separate ways. You find yourself a Trumpy. I'll find me someone a little bit more on my wavelength. Now, on the topic of hookup, fooling around with someone, having a chill, casual time, do you feel like you're somebody that can do casual, or are you someone that is a little bit more focused on building a real relationship with someone? So, me personally, I feel like I'm a mix of both of those people. In the past, I have traditionally gone for long-term relationships. I've been in long-term relationship after long-term relationship after long-term relationship. And while that's great and all, I've definitely had spaces in between, by the way. It's not all just been like one after the other after the other. I can't do that personally. And also, I am a big believer that I need time after a relationship to like heal, process, grow, change, and then go into my next relationship. Although it's never really planned, is it? It kind of just happens. So I was a long-term relationshiper, is what I'm going to call it today. I was one of them for a very long time, and I still am. I still, want to find love whenever I can find love. But I also understand that that takes time, and by looking at it from a space of like it'll come when it comes, no desperation needed. I'm just gonna like live my life, and if someone comes into my life that I really vibe with, something will happen. I'm also a big believer of like I would much rather a friend turn into something more as opposed to someone who I don't know than just becoming my partner because I don't really like that vibe. I think it's not a great foundation to have a relationship off of if the relationship has only ever been love because I personally like the type of relationship where you are literally my best friend and we know each other very well. And that's what makes me attracted to you. And then, friends to lovers type pipeline. I just think that's a lot more fruitful and honestly has a higher chance of lasting long term. But, as well as being long term, I have also dabbled in hookup culture, or I guess more just free flowy casual styles of relationships. And when I first did that, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a type of person too where casual stuff, always is better for me if I'm emotionally connected to someone. I just believe that like you understand each other a bit better, you understand each other's bodies, and also the act in general is just more pleasurable. I don't know, more fun too, because then it's not just like an exchange of like, oh, I'm doing this thing for you. It's like, oh, we're taking our time, we're having fun, we're learning each other, and that is really hot. That's like the hottest. And so for a while, the casual thing, it just like really was never my thing. Now I can say, I've dabbled. I don't mind it. I'm worried about it sometimes because it's one of those things that I feel is a little bit nerve wracking. I have a lot of health anxiety. So that also kind of triggers that for me. I'm not, you know, someone that likes to be too promiscuous or unsafe because it's just a bit scary. It's scary. And I never really talk about that because it freaks me out. Like it's an internal thing that I struggle with on my own. That is kind of why I'm not really dabbling very often. I'm honestly more than not just living my own life. But from the casual experiences I've had, it's been fine. My only problem is that whenever I've had a situation like that, the person afterwards wants something more long term. Personally, for me, I am I am not the type to go from a casual fling thing to a relationship. I don't want people, you know, oh, how did you guys meet? Grinder. Yeah, no one wants that. I feel like that's not necessarily a fun. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's weird to say that. It's weird for that to be the situation. Don't get me wrong. I've met probably one person off of there that was like genuinely an incredible person, and I hope he's living a great life because he's awesome. Um, but other than that, yeah, it's the type of people that you would find on there are just not the type of people that I would necessarily want something long term with, especially because a lot of people on there, to be honest, are serial grinders, are serial sexers, is maybe a word that I'm gonna make up and use right now. What I've noticed from being on there is I'll have a situation with someone and they want something long term, or they'll start messaging me every single day. I do not want that. I'm really sorry. It's not my vibe. If it's gonna be casual, that's who I am. If it's gonna be casual, it remains casual. If it's gonna start as not casual, it's not gonna be casual. Do you see what I mean? So I could never be friends with benefits with someone that I really like because I know I'm gonna catch feelings. However, I can't be in a relationship with someone that I'm casual with because those are like two separate parts of my brain that are like cut off from one another. And I refuse to let them coincide. So if it's casual, I'm like, nope, no feelings involved, not attached. I couldn't do that for a really long time, to be fair. I I don't know. The idea of it, I was like, but I want to fall in love. And it's like I still do, but sometimes no. But the reason I've noticed that people tend to want something a little bit more is because naturally I am a curious person. So in a conversation with someone, I will listen, I will engage because I don't care the circumstances. I just care to have a conversation. Do you know what I mean? So what I've noticed though, however, is people will take that and run with it. And it does make me wonder sometimes, have these people maybe not experienced that from friends or partners or people a lot in their lives? Because for me, I think that's the bare minimum to ask of anybody, to be engaging and to be understanding and to have fun, like have a joke. I love talking to people. So I will talk and talk and talk and talk. I will listen, listen, listen. And that's just more fun. In any circumstance, it kind of builds some form of relationship, but also just we're treating each other as people. Again, the bare minimum. And so it makes me wonder, do people not experience that a lot? And so when people haven't had that a lot, when they get it, they mistake it for something deeper. I'm curious about that. What would your take be? Because I'm convinced that everybody should be like that with everybody. I've had a lot of circumstances where people think I'm flirting with them when I'm actually just listening. I'm just being a nice person. And I feel like, wow, like it doesn't take a lot for people to necessarily think that you're being flirty or like promiscuous or that you want to be in a relationship with them, clearly. But yeah, very curious take. And I'm just interested, would that make you think that someone was interested in you? Or do you also think that's the bare minimum? Because maybe I'm just not great with social cues. And so the things I'm saying, I'm like accidentally being kind of sexy and I just don't know it. I mean, I'm not complaining, dude. If I'm being sexy and it's just who I am, hell yeah, that's kind of sick. But also on the other end, I can't pick up the social cue when someone's being like that with me. How are you guys with that stuff? Someone will be dead ass flirting with me in front of my face, playing in front of me like this, and I'm like, yeah, mm-hmm. I just don't pick up on it because I don't really necessarily go into any relationship, circumstance, friendship, whatever it may be, with that mindset. Even if I kind of like you, even if I'm like, oh, you're cute, I'm never going to go into anything with like I want to get in your pants. I want to love you. It's just not in my nature. I'm naturally hesitant to be flirty with someone. Maybe it's because I don't know how to be, but I also think it's because I just don't feel necessarily inclined to start off an interaction with that. Personally, it kind of gives me the ick if someone's like that with me. If someone's like overly sexual or like overly flirty, I get shy, but I also get kind of like, this is awkward. I'm getting cringed out because it's not natural to be like that with someone. In my eyes, the way I see it actually is like, you can't really like me that much other than my physical self. And to me, that doesn't mean much because all you have currently interacted with is the physical me. You know, maybe five things have come out of my mouth. Hi, how's it going? Type energy. And you're already trying to get in my pants. So you don't know who I am, but you're flirting with me. That's it. I'm kind of that person that's like, well, you'd be flirting, but you be knowing nothing. You have nothing in here on my database. And so I think it comes off as a little bit like insincere and a little bit weird because like you may as well be flirting with a brick wall. That's how much you know about me. And honestly, on topic, very on topic, my DMs be wild, spicy, if you will. And throws me off like no other. Listen, I be posting pictures that warrant that type of behavior. It's probably my own fault because I be posting body pic updates. I be looking cute. I just be living, you know? I look cute anyway. But for real, I do sometimes. And so I can understand why people would naturally gravitate towards sexualizing me. Then, like the other day, I was making pancakes. I was in a crop top and my joggers, and someone put, okay, bulge, excuse your mouth? Excuse your mouth. If your mother could read that, what would she say? And for me, it is the most icky, sticky, icky, wicky thing that someone could possibly do. It's so gross to me because how are you going to let that be your first interaction with me? You know, how is that going to be the very first thing you've ever said to me? And also, listen, you can think those things all you want. Do you have to put it in writing? Do you have to? Do you know your digital footprint lasts forever? I would not have that on my life. Not a chance. I just don't. No, dude. It grosses me out. It grosses me out really bad because I just don't understand why someone thinks it's okay to treat someone like that. Listen, I get it. I'm posting a hot picture. I'm sexualizing myself. But to be honest, when I'm posting that shit, I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm so hot. I'm going to post that. I'm just like, hey, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe my brain is just, maybe I just don't think sexually. And then so when I'm doing these things that are actually sexual, I'm like surprised that I'm getting sexualized. Forgot that word for a second. But then again, I'm not about to blame the victim. The victim in this case being me. I'm not about to blame her because I still don't think it's warranted. If I want to post a picture like this of like me flexing my arms or something, let me. Doesn't mean you have to be like, oh, let me in your pants, daddy. It's gross. It's weird. And the thing is too, what I get really curious about is you could have actually if you liked what you saw, you could have sent a message, we could have had a conversation, who knows? We could have even had a relationship. You didn't shoot your shot in the right way. And I fear that it's become too common as that being a way to shoot your shot. Like, dude, do you really think you're gonna put okay bulge and I'm gonna be like, come get it, baby? No. Ew. Ugh. That's vile. That would like the thought of that makes me sick. Because first of all, this is my whole social media ass, job ass account. You think I'm gonna be there, like texting you like it's Grinder on Instagram DM? No, I'm smarter than that. Don't take me for a fool. But I wonder, is this just becoming an epidemic of like really strange, weird men? Because I've noticed it in the straight community, I've noticed it in the queer community. It's become pretty common for that to be like the way to talk to somebody. I've seen my friends' close friends where they'll post a DM and it's exactly the same. And it happens a lot. It happens a lot to social media people. I wonder if it's because people don't think that they're going to see it, or maybe they just don't care. And I think that's pretty concerning that we treat people like that. I mean, we treat celebrities like that too. A lot of celebrities get the craziest wild shit written about them online in comment sections. And listen, freedom of speech is beautiful. I think it's great that we get to voice our opinions and stuff. But this isn't opinion, I would say. I'd say this is disgusting behavior. It's like sexualization of people for just breathing. And that's where it gets a little weird. But it's become very common for all types of men to message people as if they are quite genuinely a piece of meat. And so, to you, I ask, if you were to get a DM like that, is it something that you're kind of like, oh, someone's flirting with me, this is cute? Or does it immediately flick the switch in your brain that goes, I never want to see another man in my life? Because it does the latter to me. It makes me fearful for the ability to be in a relationship in the future because when it happens so often and it becomes your normalized experience of men, um, it's very worrying to think that that isn't all that men do. And a lot of people, will argue the whole, not all men, not all men, not all men. We're not talking about you. Or maybe we are if you're saying that, to be honest, because you don't need to say that. We know it's not all men, but I think the scary part about it is it's become a lot of men. It's become a lot of guys, and it's become a lot of people's normalized experiences of men, either out in public or on social media. People love to hide behind their social media presence in order to say the vilest, weirdest things to people. And it needs to not be normalized anymore because it's a bit freaky. And like, please, just like go whack one out. Can I even say that? Can I say that? Because I just be surprising myself sometimes with the things that come out of my mouth. But I said it. It's staying in. It's staying in. You're welcome. I do feel like I gotta ask, is this becoming a common experience for you too? Because I don't think this necessarily does just equate to social media people. I think this is pretty common for women and queer people alike. Some comment sections be thirsty as hell, and I don't even be an OnlyFans account. Ooh, let's talk about love. Let's talk about why it's so hard to find love in the 21st century. I know I'm not the only one alone on Valentine's Day. And I know that you are, because you're watching this fucking video. Like, otherwise, you be doing other stuff. You be getting chocolates and flowers and stuff. And instead, you're with me, a horny devil. Like, the hell? What are you doing? I'm so sorry that you're here. I wish we were both somewhere else right now. I do think it's becoming increasingly hard to find people in this generation because where is everyone? If we're not meeting in some way online, can we have a relationship? Because I feel like it's becoming increasingly common to meet partners on dating apps, through social media, through like following people and chatting and whatever. And honestly, I don't really have a problem with that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And if anything, I think it's increasingly becoming more common that that is the standard of finding a relationship because let's be real, social media is currently going nowhere. It's here to stay. We have just increased our usage year by year by year. I know for a fact, if I was to check my screen time years ago to now, night and day difference. Maybe even in COVID, I was using my phone less than I'm using it now, which is saying a lot. And I don't think I'm the only person. I mean, don't get me wrong, I try and limit my screen time as much as I can, but it is my job. It is my job, and it's also, you know, a way to connect with people. I keep up with friends, family, all through social media, FaceTime, Instagram, whatever it may be. And so I'm not surprised that the new common would be to find a relationship through social media. And here's where I think it's a little bit of a shame. I think we learn so much more about somebody through an in-person meeting. Like on first dates, when I've met people, I learn so much more about them than how they navigate on social media. Some people could be dry texters. Some people come across as weird on social media, but it's also like you can't really expect someone to get their whole personality across through a text message, through a 10-second video, through a voice note. It doesn't scream the same way, especially if you don't really know them that well. It takes a while to build a relationship and a real connection. But I believe if you were to see someone for a month straight in real life compared to a month straight of contact through social media, I think you would know so much more about them from the month in the real life than you would on the social media side. It's little quibs, it's little ways they move their face, the way they smile, the way they laugh, the way they joke. It's you're learning of how the person genuinely like fully exists in the world. And I think you can become a lot more attracted to that at the same time as opposed to someone just texting you or maybe sending you a video or a voice note. Like it's all well and good, it's just not the same. And so while it's becoming increasingly common for that to be the standard of relationship, I feel like it has to come with some form of in-person meet. Do you know what I mean? It has to come with the two because otherwise it's like dating an AI bot. I know it's not. I know that's probably really not right, and I'm talking absolute caca right now, but it kind of just feels like you could be talking to anyone. Not to mention, and I feel like this is the biggest elephant in the room, I think with social media and the accessibility to not only people on dating apps, but on Instagram, on TikTok. Nobody nobody wants to work these days. But trade work with nobody wants to settle. And I use settle in a weird way because I think that's how people may see it. Is like, oh, I have an abundance of choice. I have so many different types of people that I could meet that it's either one of two. It's either overwhelm from option, like there is so much option that it's hard to choose the right person, or serial dating slash surplus of people at their disposal. So I have this person, this person, this person, and this person on a roster. A roster has become such a common term for people who are like dating multiple people at once. Personally, I don't have the time. How? How are you doing that? I don't have the time or the energy to entertain 4 or 5 people at once. And I also get very bored easily from communicating that way on social media or like dating someone just online. I get bored because there's only so many times I can sit there and say, "Hey, how's it going? How's your day?" Like, why are we talking like we're in a 5 year long relationship? I want to know what your favorite. Oh, I don't even want to know what your favorite color is. Actually, that is a conversation I am also sick of having. But that's another thing. That's what I mean. Like the exhaustion of serial dating or dating in general in this generation is like, dude, I'm sick of having the same get to know me conversation with 5 different people, 10 different people that I will never meet in person slash ever speak to again. And it's weird. It's also kind of strangely superficial how dating apps people just be looking for a hot thing. Even if they want that in a relationship, they just be focusing on that. And the problem with that is again, like when you meet someone in person, you learn so much about them. You learn everything you need to know. Like I had this thing with this guy a couple months ago. Well, this is a while ago now, actually. We met online. Everything was going great at first. We met a couple times, but my biggest red flag was the fact that like we weren't really doing much. It kind of felt like we'd gone straight from dating into a relationship. So we were doing things that you were doing in a relationship, like a movie night and stuff like that. Me personally, I want to go on dates. I want to go on dates with you. I want to travel with you. I want to explore. I want to have fun and make memories because I can watch a movie with anyone, respectfully. I want to spend my life with you. If that's where we're going, if that's the goal, if we're going to spend long term together, this is the last thing I want to be doing. This is the thing I want to be doing on a Saturday, Sunday night, not every time I see you, you know? So, red flag number one. Red flag number two was my dad was like going through some crazy stuff. Um, and we'd met a couple times. It was chill, but then, life got busy a little bit. And I was busy with my dad, helping him out. And this guy was like, "How's your day going? Like, how are things?" I was like, "Not too great. My dad isn't doing too good right now." Blah 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 blah. He doesn't respond to me. Opens my message, doesn't respond to me for hours. Gets back to me and is like, "Hey, could you maybe message me more when we're not, in person? Because you've not really messaged me much today. You've not really checked in, seeing how my day was going." My jaw was literally dislocated on the floor. What do you mean? I just told you my dad wasn't good, and you've only just got back to me now about you. Oh, hell no. That is not how I roll. Safe to say it didn't last long after that. Probably the end of that day, I think it lasted till. I never really delved into too much detail when I broke things off with him. He was very unhappy, which I thought was very interesting because it was very early on. And he was like, "I can't believe you're doing this to me, blah, 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 blah." And all I could think was, damn, that bullet got dodged so well by me. I was really proud of myself. I can't lie. I said, "Sayonara, baby. I got another life waiting for me over here." Tell me if you're like this, because as I'm getting older, I'm realizing I have a lot less patience for the wrong type of guy, and I have a lot less time to make excuses for behavior. So if I'm kind of catching things that I don't like, listen, I'll keep a little notebook. I'm such a Virgo. I'm sorry. I know everything I'm about to say is very Virgo. I'll keep a little mental checklist because I'm not a judgmental person, but I will pick up, I'm a pattern recognizer. I will pick up on patterns over time. And if I'm noticing a theme, if I'm noticing a certain type of energy, again, it's not my job. I said this at the beginning. It's not my job to fix anyone. I'm a not do that. I'm gonna bow out when it's time, and I'm gonna let you continue to be who you are. And I think in some ways it's pretty healthy. Maybe other people might disagree, but I would rather do that than expect someone to change. Mainly from experience, I now don't expect people to change at all. I very much believe the latter, that for the most part, people are themselves. And I think the more you're in a relationship, the more that person shows themselves. So when that guy was like, "Oh, you're not messaging me enough," I was like, that is crazy to me. First of all, that you need the constant messaging. I'm not a constant messenger. I don't think it's healthy for a relationship personally. I think it's good to have a little bit of distance. I do very much believe absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I can happily not speak to you until we next see each other. Maybe a couple times in between, but even then, I'd rather it be a FaceTime. I don't want to be messaging you every single day throughout the day, checking in. How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. That is not my speed. I have too much going on in my life. Again, my job be taking precedent most of the time. But we're both busy people. I want you to go see your friends, and you can tell me about it on that FaceTime call on Wednesday. I want you to go and have fun. I want you to, live your life. I'ma live mine. And until we're living together, until there's a ring on this finger and your finger, we don't need to be that close. From experience, I think being joined at the hip in a relationship is a very slippery slope. It's like that whole saying, what is it? Like the strongest flames, like something like they burn the brightest, but like die the quickest. And it is that type of vibe. It's like, let's not rush into a relationship because the best type of relationship is a bit of a drip feed. I want to be so excited to see you that I want to claw my own face off. I want to be ravenous. I want to be like, what is he gonna wear? Is he gonna look cute? Like, oh my God, I can't control myself. That's how I want to be. And I find that that romance kind of dies a little bit if we're talking 24/7 because it becomes an expectation as opposed to a normal kind of thing. If the relationship's going to work out, there may be a time where we're living together and have to see each other's face every single day. And I think that is when that is okay. That is normal because we gotta cook tea tonight. We gotta cook our dinner. We gotta work on things. We gotta learn how to coexist in the same household. And so then we will be speaking to each other every single day. We will be around each other constantly. And so I think that is something that's reserved for later on in the relationship. That's like 15th base or something. I don't know how the bases work, but that's like all the way over here. We got time to get there. Let's not rush that process. I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me Valentine's questions. I'm gonna go see if you've asked me any. One of you guys asked, when is the Valentine's Day makeup look coming? It's right here. This is it. I'm a horny devil, and you can see the actual photos on my Instagram. Not gonna lie, this is probably the most like first trappy photo shoot I've ever done, which is really funny considering I was talking about getting the types of DMs I get. I'm gonna have an influx. Maybe I'll show you because it's gonna be crazy. At this point, it's like pouring water on yourself when you're in the shower. I don't know what I'm doing, but listen, it's Valentine's Day, and I know y'all are horny, and I gotta provide. Half of my audience is men, and probably gay men at that. So I gotta provide for my people. I've always said I'm a person for the people, and so it's my gift to you. Think of it as a Valentine's Day present, a little kiss from me. Someone asked me who my dream date was, and I don't think I have one. When people ask me questions like this, like celebrity crush, who's your celebrity crush? Who's this? I don't think I ever have one. And it goes back to that thing of like, I need to know someone. I need to kind of like, I need to know your brain. I need to find you funny to have that type of relationship. And I don't really be keeping up with celebrities like that a lot of the time. I don't really care. So dream date, um, someone that's funny. someone with a good fashion sense, um, someone that thinks I'm hot, I guess. Those are all important things. Other than that, I'm not a very typey person. I don't have a type. I don't have a preference. It's more energy. It's more when I get to know you, and also if I find you really hot, which has no rhyme or reason. Every single guy I've dated looks different from the last. It's more the energy. Also, I don't have a preference in top or bottom. I'm very much in the middle, versatile, if you will. You'd think my dating pool would be wider, but then again, I don't know. I do this, don't I? So this is probably really hindering my dating pool. Someone sees this, I very much believe they will be clicking the X, they will be saying goodbye. Because how do you tell someone that this is your job? I mean, that's a whole thing in itself. Trying to explain my job to people without them saying, oh, so you're an influencer, makes me scream. It makes me scream. It's the hardest conversation to have with someone, and it's the last conversation I usually want to begin. So I tend to not ask what they do for work until a while in, because how do I explain? Yeah, I painted myself on Valentine's Day. I sat in front of my camera with a bunch of trash bags around me to protect my belongings from turning red so that I could film a video about Valentine's Day and relationships. And I couldn't even tell you a single thing I've said in this video. Probably a whole lot of shit. And if you're here, you're insane. And I love you. And I'm really glad that you've enjoyed this. Or maybe you haven't. Maybe you'll hate watching me. And if you are, thanks for the views, baby. Someone asked for an update on my love life. What did they put? Sensual life? Sensual slash sentimental. So I wonder if this person is from a different country and those words would usually mean something else. Um, I digress. My love life is currently non-existent. I think. I don't really have anyone that I'm speaking to, entertaining, I don't think. I say I don't think because again, I don't know. And also, like I said, friendships to love is pipeline. So if I fall in love with one of my friends, you guys will be the first to know. Um, an update will be coming. That's for sure. But no, I just be living. I just be working a lot, to be honest. So it's really hard for me to find the type of person that I can be with. I think I need to be with someone that is in my industry or in an industry similar to mine because it is so difficult to find someone that can kind of relate to you or that understands the job or even the schedule. The schedule is so weird and complex and can either be really busy or really quiet. And also, self employment is a whole other thing. So, it can be difficult to be with someone that doesn't get that. And from what I've experienced, when I've been in relationships with people that do get that, the relationship has always been more enjoyable. Or I guess like fruitful because our schedules can somewhat more align. We can make time for each other in the same times and things just kind of tend to make a little bit more sense. It can just be tricky because I never want to be working with someone that I love like that, you know? I want either some form of privacy or to not be involved in each other's social medias or whatever the job may be because I just don't think it's necessary. I think maybe I would share parts of my life, pictures and stuff like that, but I would never turn my relationship into my career. Anyone that does, hat off to you because oh my holy cow, how do people have couple accounts? That would drive me insane. Having to like spend all day working with my partner, I don't think I could do it. What if we argue and then we've got to film together? Like, that would suck. So I don't know how you do it. Power to you if you do. It's not for me. Would you become a couples channel? That is what I'm going to end today's video on. Would you become a couples Instagram, TikTok, YouTube account? If so, why? If so, why not? By the way, all of these questions that I've asked, I really want answers to. So either DM me on Instagram or put it in the comments below on YouTube. Start a debate. Let's have a conversation about it because these are all topics pertaining to Valentine's Day and love. and I'm just really interested by how everybody else is navigating life. And I feel like we could all teach each other something. I don't think I have all the answers. I think I'm very much winging it pretty much all of the time. So I love hearing people's perspectives. I think you guys may have some really good perspectives too. And don't be shy. Put some more. That's all I gotta say. Red Devil's gonna go. I'm gonna go shower. I'm gonna go destroy my bath right now. Like, it's gonna look crazy. So I love you. I'm gonna do a separate video for advice session. It might come out after Valentine's Day, but it'll be all things pertaining to relationships, love, sex. I don't know. We'll see what you guys ask on Instagram. But I like doing the advice sessions. I did one for friendship. It's actually going up after this one because Valentine's Day is sooner. But I like the advice sessions. I think it's fun and it makes me talk less about myself, which we all know I need to do more of because this was definitely a bibble babble about me today. I love you. Go check out the Instagram post, by the way. And if I look hot, tell me. And if I look crazy, don't tell me.